Okay, so I'll get back to my introduction. So first of all, I would like to welcome all the partners in the project. So first of all, the project coordinator VUB, Ghent University and HOWEST University of Applied Science, and Mbarara University of Science and Technology. So this project is about entrepreneurship, it's about creating jobs, it's about innovation, labor market. So those are all parameters which are crucial in international cooperation. And we are very glad and very proud that we can, as HOWEST, be project coordinator of this part of this bigger project. And we are very interested in working together for the next years with you as partners. And I'm glad and honored to welcome you both physically in HOWEST, in our new campus, the Penta, in Kortrijk, and also virtually in Brussels, Ghent, and in Uganda. So I'll give the floor to my colleague Kurt, who will introduce the keynote speaker. So I think it will be a very interesting keynote speaker. He's one of the founders of one of our innovative programs in HOWEST, network economy, so almost 15, 20 years ago, and still is an actual program and very innovative in HOWEST. So I'll be very glad that the keynote will be given by Karel. So I give the floor to Kurt.
Thank you, Frederick. Good morning, everyone. This kind of blended meeting is always a little bit tricky, so some technical problems may occur, but we will solve them as we go along. We have our colleague Benny standby. He's a technical expert, so he can assist if necessary. But if anything goes wrong, you can just give a sign. We will pick it up and we will try to solve the problem. This means, this blended meeting means also that we will record this. If anyone disagree, please say this, but, otherwise we will record it to use also in a later stage. Certainly the keynote speaker will give us several insights, several opinions that will be useful to start up the program to discuss on certain topics about entrepreneurship and youth employment. So it's my honor to welcome Karel Uyttendaele, who has a clear vision on how cooperation between Europe and Africa should continue. We have a long history together, but it's not always a very pleasant history. So it's important that we build up new relations, and the vision of Karel is very focused on economic collaboration. So please, Karel, go ahead with your presentations.
Thank you very much for all of you. It's a pleasure to be here in Kortrijk, but I also say hello to our friends in Uganda. I have the intention to share with you some ideas, opinions, not necessarily based on fundamental research, on evidence-based research, but I would like to share you some ideas picked up in Africa over the last 15 years. I have been able to interview approximately over 800 young engineers, economists, agronomists, graduated on African universities, unfortunately not in Uganda. Before discussing the topic of creating millions of jobs, decent jobs in Africa, I would like to kick it off with 3 parts of a recent video recording from YouTube. The first one has been recorded during the welcoming address of the state visit of the President of Ghana in Switzerland. If we first listen to the welcome of the President of Switzerland, what she has to say. She starts her discussion at welcoming to the President of Ghana with saying everything what Switzerland has been doing in development cooperation for Ghana. And then she continues also to say something on the topic of economics.
and the UN peacekeeping measures is also extremely impressive. Switzerland supports these efforts through the Kofi Annan International Peacekeeping Training Center in Accra since 2006. Ladies and gentlemen, not every connection between our two countries can be deduced at first glance. Take the gold vreneli, or I can translate the traditional gold coin and the chocolate coins, both products that every child here grows up with and which are considered typically Swiss. But neither would exist without gold and cocoa, which we import on a large scale from Ghana. It is quite simple. We need the raw materials, and you have the raw materials. The resulting trade and business should benefit both countries. This principle is part of mutual respect. Gold and cocoa can create work and wealth in both countries. But it also brings with it a responsibility that both countries bear. In Switzerland, the public and parliament conduct heated debates about how companies here behave abroad, whether they take sufficient consideration of social, ecological, and economic aspects in their business dealings abroad. Human rights are always an important.
So she's talking a lot, as everybody in Europe continues to talk about sustainable development goals, human rights, and so on. Of course, she has talked also that the change between gold and cocoa, and both parties benefit from it, she says. Maybe you have noticed that during her speech, this intervention, that the president of Ghana took some notes. He changed his prepared speech. Now listen how he has responded to that.
Switzerland's largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa, larger from the export of gold and cocoa to Switzerland and the import of chemical and pharmaceutical products, as well as light machinery and military equipment from Switzerland. However,
he says,
as I have stated on occasion, Ghana no longer wants to be dependent on the production and export of raw materials, including cocoa beans. We intend to process more and more of our cocoa in our country with the aim of producing more chocolate ourselves, because we believe that there can be no future prosperity for the Ghanaian people in the short, medium, or long term if we continue to maintain economic structures that are dependent on the production and export of raw materials. We intend to add value to our raw materials, industrialize and enhance agricultural productivity. This is the best way we can put Ghana at the high end of the value chain in the global marketplace and create jobs for the teeming masses of Ghanaians. It is for this reason that my government continues to put in place a number of measures aimed at attracting investment into Ghana, as well as stimulating growth of the private sector.
You see, he has been lengthy, he has thanked Switzerland for all what Switzerland has done in the past, but then he says, but now things have to change. We have to transform more of the chocolate beans ourselves in order to create jobs for our people. It cannot continue like that, like it has been done in the past. We have to change completely. So he was very outspoken, and he even afterwards, during a press conference, journalists have interpreted this speech as that Ghana does not want to export cocoa beans anymore if large parts of it are not transformed in Ghana itself and added value and creating jobs in Ghana. So this was the discussion. This is what happened in Ghana. And then we had also, here's another part of a video pronounced by the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Ivory Coast. And he goes a step further.
Le moteur du développement de la Côte d'Ivoire de demain passera par la transformation des matières premières et passera par les joint ventures entre Européens et Ivoiriens. Donc quand un privé étranger vient en Côte d'Ivoire, grâce au plan national de développement, il sait exactement quels sont les secteurs d'activité qui peuvent être promoteurs de plus-value. Dans quel secteur d'activité il doit investir pour gagner de l'argent et quels sont les secteurs qui intéressent la Côte d'Ivoire en termes de développement. Nous avons également un centre d'investissement qui s'appelle le CPC, à un guichet unique, chargé d'aider les promoteurs étrangers dans leur démarche pour s'installer en Côte d'Ivoire ou dans leur démarche pour investir. Ensuite, nous avons un code des investissements attractif qui garantit non seulement le retour sur investissement, c'est-à-dire que vous investissez, vous faites des bénéfices, vous pouvez rapatrier sans problème la part de bénéfices que vous souhaitez rapatrier. Ensuite,
So the guy says, come here to make a profit. And you repatriate the part of your profits that you decide. This is a message that I have been hearing not only in Ghana and in Ivory Coast, but also in Senegal, also in Namibia, also in Cameroon, also in Ethiopia, also in Kenya. I hear it everywhere in Africa. So here we say, no. This is completely different story than the standard story that we hear here about sustainable development goals and human rights. As a matter of fact, Africa says, we first have to create jobs for people. And we are adult enough to look for human rights ourselves. We do not need your advice anymore on that area. Last week, the African Union had their Africa Day celebration. And there they had as a keynote speaker a South African Guinean South African professor, Professor Carlos Lopez, as a keynote speaker. What did he say? He was attracting the attention to agribusiness and the coming the open market in Africa. He is asking for mass transformation of local products. He also says not only the standard agricultural products, but also the strategic environmental products, minerals, for photovoltaic cells and so on. We need to have, is Africa ready? He was addressing himself to Africa now. Are we ready? Is Africa ready to negotiate how to transform those products ourselves? And then he added, are we ready to negotiate? Then he added also the future, at the short-term future is bridges between our production units and international research innovation centers. So this is, as a matter of fact, as an introduction to my speech, to my plea, in order to create jobs, millions of jobs in Africa. I believe, thinking about that, latest saying, that jobs can be created, that Africa will be able to transform itself, their raw materials, by linking their production units, their people, with our innovation centers. So the first step could be the massive partnerships between industrial SMEs in Africa and Europe. But I recommend strongly that Africa takes the initiative. African SMEs industrial initiative should dare to seek partnerships with more advanced peers here in Europe and all around the world. A small reminder, although, the global challenges that we have, all of us today, as well in Europe, as in China, in the States, as in Africa. Here, it's climate, all the challenges that in 2035, in Africa, more young people will join the workforce than in the rest of the world combined. How to create a job for all those people? Other challenges today, China, the workshop of the world. You see, a small incident in the Suez Canal stopped, we do not have bicycles anymore here. We do not have computer chips anymore for our car industry. These are real challenges, and I believe that Africa can play a major role in solving those problems. But we have to act now. So the idea is that it should start with thousands of African industrial SMEs seeking a partnership with more advanced peers. This will result in a massive transfer to Africa of advanced industrial know-how. Not only will this solve also Africa's social and economic problems, but it may also create jobs in Europe. The industrialization of Africa. If Africa would be industrialized, what would be the contributions of Africa for the world? So, industrialization of Africa would mean transforming rich raw materials in Africa itself in a short chain for local markets. That means, that reducing local transformation, reducing reduction of round-trip transport of raw materials, semi-finished goods, finished goods to China, Europe, and Africa back. Thousands of kilometers and CO2 emissions that are reduced. And even the virus propagation will be reduced at that time. Modern industrialization of Africa, not a smokestack industries, means that industries will take advantage of the abundant sources of eternally renewable energies in Africa. They are decentralized, everywhere available, and very cheap. Industrialization of electricity everywhere in Africa. Means that solar pumps, for instance, can be used for irrigation and create new agricultural land, and reforestation and fight desertification. What does it mean for the African demography? It has been shown all over the world that increased well-being, if there would be industries, if there is a middle class, an educated middle class, that automatically demography goes down. That also is solving the ecological footprint. Yes, if Africa industrializes itself, we have competition from Africa. Here in Europe, we'll have competition from there. China will have competition from Africa. The US will have competition from them. But that will force us to innovate faster in new ecological innovation. For instance, carbon sequestration. Another effect of the industrialization of Africa. The industrialization of Africa, transforming raw materials in a short value chain locally for local consumption. That example will be known. We will see everywhere in other continents, we'll be seeing that there's a new middle class that has been created, will be well educated, and that will attract more foreign direct investments, will integrate more investments and more innovations. Chances are real, I think, that beautiful African example will be copied in other continents around the world, leading to a more balanced distribution of manufacturing in a short value chain and close to the end user. Okay, this is here as the contribution of Africa, if Africa would be able to industrialize itself. Does Africa have the assets to industrialize itself? Asset number one, yes, of course, there are the local raw materials over there, abundant, available. But the more important, or the even important asset is its educated demographic dividend. We have the African Continental Free Trade Area that is really operating almost. We have in Africa everywhere eternally renewable energies. We have 60% of the world arable land. In the urban centers, everybody is connected to the internet, everybody. We have in Africa also a financial upper layer everywhere. And we see also in Africa the emerging democracies. What are the impediments in Europe, in Africa, and why Africa is not yet industrialized today? I had the opportunity to interview in Europe, in Belgium, in France, in Holland, in Germany, over 200 local entrepreneurs, trying to convince them to invest in Africa. They told me, no, Karel, in my newspapers, on television, in flyers that I receive every day from ONGs, they're asking for money, you know. There is only misery in Africa. There is no stability in Africa. No, I'm not going to invest over there. And that has been seen. So the Africa storyline in the mainstream media is still captured every day by official development agencies, specialists, and they are all, Africa need help. Give me money, you know. Africa need help. And very often you see it here, these requests are accompanied by beautiful photos and TV stars. You know. Every day, every week I receive such pamphlets, or on television and in radio. This is very delicate, but this doing good for Africa, as a matter of fact, tells everybody, tells our investors that Africa is not ready for an advanced industrialization. During those interviews, I also asked them, those 200 entrepreneurs, nobody was able to cite me 2 countries in Africa with more or less democratic regimes and with stable, accessible industrial sites. Nobody. Nobody was able to cite me 2 countries out of the 54. The Economist publishes every year some 15, 20 countries in Africa with more or less stable democracies and an infrastructure, you know, available for industrialization. Nobody knows it. In Africa itself, why also the impediments in Africa? I was able to also interview more than 200 SMEs, industrial SMEs in Africa. When I tell them, when I ask them, and when I suggested them to seek partnerships with more advanced peers, they tell me, no, Karel, no. Yes, this is very nice, you know, this is very nice that you try to convince us to do that, but you are so naive, Karel. You do not understand the African mentality, you know. We are never going to share a dream with somebody else, never. We want to do it all ourselves. We want to keep everything ourselves. Yeah. Another third of them, they tell me, yes, we understand, but we are afraid. Once we are entering such a partnership with a more advanced partner, he is going to dominate everything. He's going to take everything. You know? And the third part, they say, no, we do not need anybody. We are strong enough in Africa. We will do it on our own. These are the impediments. How to overcome now those impediments? That is how to overcome them. The major problem that Africa has, I feel, and that we have, is that we have to change our mentality. And also Africa has to change its mentality. We think, you know, very general that Africa is not able to for an industrialization. So we have to change that. So I recommend Belgium, France, Germany, Europe, you know, to organize, for instance, town hall debates. Why not? With African people talking over there and telling them, I have been educated in Africa, and here I have been appointed by a big company here as their manager for their African investment. This is going to change a lot. So the theme of those town hall sessions should be, Africa is not what you think. In Africa, same thing, you know. Why also not, you know, those massive changes for mentality, you know, by organizing also their town hall debates, trying to convince African SMEs, you know, how to seek and how to win such a partnership with a more advanced peer. Here an example of a meeting I organized myself in my hometown in Aalst. I had an engineer from Siemens over there. He was here for 1 year. And after 1 year, you know, he studied in Dakar, as an engineer, an electromechanical engineer over there. He worked for 1 year at Siemens Industrial Automation here in Brussels. After 11 months, they told him, Tala, you know, you are ready, we feel that you are ready to go back to Africa, to Dakar, and be in charge for all our installations and maintenance of sophisticated industrial automation systems. The people in the room over there at the town hall, they asked, oh yes, Mr. Tala, you must be somebody really very good, you know, you must be a fantastic guy. But tell us, you certainly got your degree in Lyon, or in Paris, or in Toulouse. No, I got my degree in Dallas, in Dakar. You understand? That is strong. That is a change, you know. Siemens, you know, the big Siemens company has trust in its education, Got over there, you know. So I recommend to change that mentality and to obtain, to industrialize Africa and to have all those partnerships, you know. First step, a change of mentality, as well in Europe as in Africa. Second step, you know, really thousands of vested, proven African SMEs, they should take the initiative to seek a partnership with EU counterparts. Why not that African SMEs should go on the web, Google it themselves, and look for a partner here, and get in touch with that partner, phone that partner, exchange via WhatsApp, talk with them, and so exchange ideas. I have the experience. I have talked to some of those people who do not want to invest in Africa, but they tell me if I get an invitation from a partner, from a peer, a guy who knows my industry, you know, but on a smaller base for Africa, maybe I'm willing to work with him. In the first phase, you know, that partnership will be a simple partnership. He will be an agent, for instance, a small SME manufacturer of agricultural machinery. And he gets in touch with a more advanced partner here, with more sophisticated machinery. In the first phase, the African partner will act as a simple commercial agent. But, you know, the technicians from the African partner will be educated here, because the Belgian, the European, more advanced partner want to be sure that his equipment is well installed, well maintained over there. That is the first step of a transfer of advanced technological know-how to Africa. And in such a relationship, you know, there's no extra finance needed over there. It's very simple. It's a very simple way of a first level of industrialization. But the African partner will also already on the job learning the real craft of complex international entrepreneurship. Second part, and the third part, phase, after some years of working and also the growing common market in Africa, together they may decide to develop a new agricultural machine specifically for that large common African market, the largest market in the world, by the way. Yeah, the largest market in the world. At that time also, yes, there's going to be a need for finance, but their project between those two vested partners, two partners who know each other, who have done business together, who really are good, you know, their project becomes a bankable project. Their finance will be available. Their successes will be followed, when that works, you know, their successes will be followed by hundreds of other SMEs in Africa. And together, they are going to create thousands of jobs in agro-food industries, in manufacturing, and in related services. That means, you know, that an important educated middle class will be created over there. And also governance and human rights will be installed from within, not with our advice, in Africa itself. there will be a purchasing power created also with that large middle class. And that, you know, is also important. Then, you know, that will get the attention of the big companies, the foreign direct investors. They will go over there. Oh, there's a big market over there. You know, I go there. And they, from the beginning, they are going to create jobs for 500, 1,000, 2,000 decent jobs, plus the double of it in the upstream and downstream value chains. Also, their managers will learn on the job the craft of modern industrial entrepreneurship. Concluding, so I have made a plea for the deglobalization of manufacturing capacity. We should dare to delocalize some of our manufacturing plants to Africa, but based on a globalization of know-how. Deglobalization manufacturing, globalization of know-how for the local transformation of raw materials in a short value chain, and based on eternally reusable African energies. That effect will reconcile the African social and economical progress, prevent climate and the pandemic apocalypse, will avoid supply chain disruptions, and also will restart European economy, a big market, biggest market in the world. 1/4 of total of active population in the world will be there. And then I ask here, I recommend strongly for that to start with that mentality change and act now. Just as a certain young lady, Vanessa, told European authorities last week during the Africa Day. She was from Uganda. She's from Uganda, by the way. She is their climate girl. And she told our European authorities, you European authorities, you know, you are always talking about sustainable development goals. Forget it, she told them. It will never happen as long as you do not start to solve the climate change problems now. And that's what I say also. Let's start with that mentality change here and in Africa now. Thank you very much.
Welcome back. We are ready to have some questions. I will have to sit down to see who is asking questions, so I won't be on the screen. I will project the people here, so the colleagues who are present here, and I'll try to focus on the guest speaker when the answer is coming, okay? So please, I welcome your questions at this moment. Okay, I don't see hand ups from the participants yet.
Okay, very good.
If you want to have, if you want to
comment,
type a question within the chat, it's also possible. Then I will read the chat and give the question to Karel. Okay, is there some questions within the audience here, live on campus, or not yet?
I will take the opportunity to ask you a couple of questions. I suppose, Karel, that you have been in Africa many times, probably specific countries. What I'm very interested in is the stories of the entrepreneurs in Africa there, and most of all, the success stories. In which sector do you have success stories. Sorry. Yeah, that to start with.
When talking about Africa, everybody starts to know now some names of really big entrepreneurs. In the cement industries, there is a Nigerian entrepreneur who has cement manufacturers plants all over the continent already now. All the other, there are some, and then you have also people that are successful, but they are, most of the time, they are only doing import and export. They make a lot of money, but very few of them are really in the productive industry, in the productive economy. And they have a lot of money, they are successful, and they invest mainly in also in commerce and in real estate. But how, yes, and then I have visited workshops that are modestly successful, mainly in agriculture, agro-business related. That is an area today that is really, and then also the ICT sector. My background is ICT, and I know in the countries, in 7 sub-Saharan countries where I have been, I always also get to know the people in the ICT sector. But their activities are still limited. You know, even electronic money has been invented in Africa, but it did not create over there jobs. Not 1,000 jobs have been created, unfortunately. So therefore, I really believe that it has to come, that the future of Africa first has to come from in the agro-business sector and related industries. But you should not forget, for agro-business really to increase that agro-business, you need packaging, you need roads, you need infrastructures, you need electricity, you need electronics, you need ICT, you need everything, you know, you need contacts, everything. And that is, to me, you know, where it should start. That was also the opinion of that professor from South Africa, and the Canadian Carlos Lopez. That's his opinion. Let's start with that, you know. There's such a need for that. And then automatically, you know, there will be other sectors also developing themselves. Of course, you need transportation sector. You need logistics. You need that. You see, that gives to all. Very new, of course, and that is not yet the case, and that could be the most promising sector, are the strategic economic minerals that are needed for photocells and so on. That could be the most important one. But there, you know, this will only be transformed locally thanks to relationships, partnerships with more advanced innovation centers and with more advanced entrepreneurs in that area. But I cannot indicate outside of the agro-business sector and other successful sectors already or make recommendations. I believe, on the other hand, very strongly that one of those subsectors from the agro-business, you know, will lead to something very important that we do not know yet today. You know?
Thank you for your answer. I don't know if there's any more questions. Otherwise, I have maybe an interesting question for the project, because, well, oh, excuse me. Okay, a question from. Okay, Abel. Okay, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for the nice presentation. I'm joining from the Free University of Brussels, VUB, in Brussels. And I like very much the last part of your presentation when you were explaining the different phases that are required to bring this change. And in one of the moments, you rightly mentioned that there are thousands of African SMEs that have taken the initiative to seek for partnerships in Europe. But also you mentioned and emphasized during your presentation that there is a need of change in the mentality. And you mentioned this several times. My question is, what is the difference, or where do you see the difference between those who are actively taking the initiative to seek for partnerships and those who remains with nice ideas, with those entrepreneurs that you were mentioned? Please speak out, please reach out. What do you think it's missing on those African entrepreneurs with probably very good ideas, with probably very nice businesses that could scale up or be sustainable in the future? How do you see the difference, and what is needed for them to change that mentality? That's my question. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much. I have talked to several of those, but there are too few. The problem is there are too few of them. Yeah. And the ones that I have talked to, very few of them, they are so reluctant. They are still afraid that the European partner will dominate their activity. You see, we have to, as a matter of fact, the agency for SME development in Senegal asked me, I will go over there the first week of July to discuss with the authorities and with universities and also the industry, the employers' federations, how to motivate many more of those Senegalese SMEs to seek partnerships with more advanced peers. How to make sure, how to educate them that they should not be afraid, how to make sure that they get in touch to motivate them why they should, first they have to understand why they should seek a partnership. And then secondly, also how to win in that partnership. And that is going to be the discussion the week, there's 3 half days that we are going to discuss together. And from then on, the Senegalese authorities and the combination with the universities and with the employers organization, they will start to organize awareness sessions, addressing themselves to the existing SMEs, why they should seek partnership and how to win in those partnerships, how the partnership should end up in a win-win situation. That is what we are going to discuss over there. So the answer to your question is that there are too few of them who are really doing it today. Because, as I explained, also I have seen 3 categories of them. First of them, they say, no, we are never going to do that. They are not willing to do that. We want to do it all ourselves. And secondly, the other parties, we are afraid that we will be dominated by the Western partner. And the third part, they say, no, we don't need anybody. We will do it on ourselves. And then the financial elite, unfortunately, I have seen some changes over there with their financial elite. Their children, they are now becoming economists. They get educated. They go to school. They get a university degree. And they start to understand that what their father did, only doing commerce, and investing in real estate, that is not creating a future for their children. But we have to pass through a big awareness campaign in order to motivate many more industrial SMEs in Africa to really dare to seek a partnership and to win in that partnership. It's not that they don't want to do it, but that there are too few of them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Karel. Was that an answer to your question, Abel?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. I see a next question from Imelda. Please go ahead, Imelda.
Thank you. And I'm pleased with the presenter. Then I also build on others' question, and I need more understanding. When you talk of guided
mentality change,
I begin to question, what is it that should be guided? What is that mentality that should be changed now when you were trying to provide an answer to Abel, you talked of initiating. Then I was looking at how these collaborations and partnerships come into being, where the South is first asked to write something and then later is joined by one from the partner institutions or country. What is it? What is that mentality that has to be changed and by guidance?
May I ask you, do you want to talk about the needed mentality change in Europe or in Africa?
Did you got the question, Imelda? Is it about the mentality change within? Is it about the mentality change in Europe or in Africa?
In Africa.
In Africa.
Okay. So the dominant mentality that I have encountered in Africa is that they really are reluctant. They are afraid that we are going to continue to dominate them. And that is the mentality change that should be where I ask the authorities and the employers' federations and the unions and the academics, to try to convince their compatriots to change their mentality. But maybe they also have to be trained in this. That is what I hope that what is going to happen the first week of July in Senegal, that a training will be organized for the SMEs, why to seek a partnership and how to make sure that you win in that partnership. Yeah. But it is also important, when the word guided over there, I believe that also the authorities can really help a lot. A combination of authorities and the academic sector, they can manage this. Yeah. We cannot let it over to the employers' organizations. This has been initiated by the authorities and the academics. They have a very important role to play in that mentality change because they are the trusted, and also the local mayors, the local burgomeester. People are confident in what their burgomeester, their mayor, what tells them. That is why I have made that play for town hall debates. When it's really the local authorities who talk to their constituents, they know each other, they trust each other, together with the academics.
Okay, thank you, Karel. Imelda, was that an answer to your question?
Yeah, at least I have some light.
But the second part, I did not understand it. The second part was not clear to me, because the question was,
Okay, did you have another question, Imelda?
Another question is around the 700,000 jobs. And
yeah.
Is it a dream? Is it something we can achieve?
Okay, very good point. This has been now documented over and over. If Africa wants to, not us, if Africa wants to reduce its poverty rate, Africa has to create more jobs per year than that demographic increases. So the number of births, and that's what we are talking about. That is that's a number I found in your documents. It was 700,000 new people entering the labor market. So you have to create jobs for them, and that's where the 700,000 comes from. Yeah. And there are only 300,000, and in the informal sector today. So it has to be 700,000 jobs in the formal sector, where Social Security is paid, and so on and so on. Yeah. To the whole of Africa, it amounts to 12 million per year. 12 12 million jobs per year that have to be created in order to create more jobs per year than the number of people that enter the new the market, the labor market. These are real figures.
Okay.
It's immense. It's immense. That's why I have my plea for thousands of SMEs seeking partnerships. Not 5 or 10, no, thousands.
Okay, thank you, Karel. Was that an answer to your question, Imelda? It seems to be a dream, but we have to dream big.
Yeah, but we have to start now. We have to start now.
I do agree. We must have a dream.
Yes, yes.
Okay. I'm satisfied.
Okay, thank you, Imelda. Anyone else? Questions for Karel?
I think the more we interact, the more we get to internalize what the project is all about and what we need to do.
Yeah, it's true. And maybe I have a question for Karel, because as we have a university project together, I wonder what the role could be of a university, Mbarara University of Science and Technology. What can be the role of the university in motivating youngsters, young students, to become entrepreneurs and to start all of this, or to play a role in this, Karel?
That's
difficult
not
one.
an easy one, you know. That's a delicate one. Yeah. Because I'm not aware of successes of.
Is he on?
I'm not sure. He's still into the meeting.
Gwendolyn has a hand up, but I will come in.
Gwendolyn, can we first get the answer from Karel about the role of the university?
Now, the role of the university, and the more reason we came up with this project, is to address that demographic need. And it so much goes with our flagship to connect with the community. And we believed that we should not only remain at teaching the university students, but we would far go into tracking those who have already completed, and then we see the much we can do to add the problem of the youth more so, and as you, there is much to do with change of mentality, as you put it, because many people think they should sit in office, and yet work is out there, and we are trying to put up a hub so that people come, they pitch, even give them exposure, so that we can have that change of mentality from office work to doing much more with your talents, abilities, and potential. I hope I was clear.
Okay, thank you, Imelda. That's your vision on the role the university can play. Maybe we can also ask the question to Karel and get his opinion. And then I come back to the question of Gwendolyn.
May I recommend really African universities to get involved also, first of all, teaching existing industrial SMEs why to seek a partnership and how to make sure that the partnership ends up to a win-win situation. They will need young people coming from university, just studied, you know. And that is where they are. But first of all, those young people, that is where I also, and where we all of us here in Flanders, where we have learned the craft of real entrepreneurship in practice. Working in a company, you know, with this practice. It's so difficult. Yes, to give you an example also, I know several business schools today, in the States, today, when they say you are not admitted to our business school, you first have to you have to have work experience during 3 or 4 years in a real company, you know. And then you come to teach. So that's what I recommend that the university should do. This is an immense task, you know, I feel, to really teach, train, so existing SMEs, you know, on the need, why you need that partnership with a more advanced partner and how to win that partnership. And those companies over there, you know, who do that, they are going to need young people, you know, that just studied. And that's again, those young people in that partnership, those young people are going to really learn on the job the craft of real entrepreneurial. Cannot be taught. Also, when I went first time to the VLIRUOS management school, you know, for the middle management in 1970, yeah. That is what VLIRUOS already told us, you know. We have created this school here, you know, for teaching existing SMEs from West Flanders, from Flanders. That was the purpose, teaching to them, not students, you know. First, teaching existing SMEs. So it's an important task that I see for universities in Africa to teach their SMEs.
Okay, thank you, Karel. So we have to focus with the project also on existing entrepreneurs at place, getting involved with them, so partner up with them, and then our students or future graduates can play a role within these partnerships. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
There's something else that I have on. So an area, a country where, you know, where it all started with us teaching entrepreneurship, it all started in France. French governments and authorities have invested millions and millions of euros for doing that, for teaching young startups and helping them and so on. We are now 10, 15 years later. It is a disaster. Did not work. They are going to stop with it. So teach existing SMEs like VLIRUOS did here in the old days, you know. Teach SMEs. Teach them to professionalize, their activity that they are already doing. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Karel. Maybe we can go to the question of Gwendoline. She is raising her hand already for some minutes now. Go ahead, Gwendoline.
Okay, thank you very much for this wonderful discussion. Actually, it's not a question, it's kind of a submission. Yeah, I've been trying to follow, though the sound has really been bad. I don't know if it is to do with my internet or I have been getting echoes in and out. Yeah, so actually when you asked about the role of the university, I have worked with a business incubation clinic before, and we noticed over time that there are very many things that are affecting SMEs, and we realize that actually what is taught is different from the real practice. Some of the things, not everything. So we realized that this mindset change process should be continuous. It is a continuous. It is not about being in class and then they start on the business and they are not, followed through, because there are always voices that discourage these entrepreneurs. Very many voices at different levels of entrepreneurship. So we discovered that actually even the students that have done business courses, they have the theory, they lack the practical skills, the implementation skills. They lack the right, I would sum it up as the right entrepreneurship mindset. There's this total package of mindset which sometimes is not created in class. Like, this is a continuous thing that has to be imparted in these students. So as we realize, as we try to reach out to the SMEs and to encourage even the other young people, the youth, to start on entrepreneurship, we have to take into consideration that it is going to be a continuous process, following them throughout, throughout all the process, so that we really get the results that we need. Then another thing that we realized about this mindset, it is our curriculum, how our African curriculum is sometimes, set, and the perception of people like after school I have to go to office, and even the curriculum is not so practical. So as we think of the partnership, we can think of having, those skills centers, skills development centers for these young entrepreneurs. Thank you very much. I will follow through the minutes so that I track everything that has been talked about, because I really feel I've missed a lot because of the sound problem. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Gwendoline, for your question. Well, it was more comments than questions, I think. It added up with the presenter. Karel, you want to react?
No.
Okay.
It's okay.
I have a question here from the audience, Ivo de Pauw.
Yes, I have this question. We are in this university project for the Mbarara University for a phase of 2 times 6 years. Would it be an idea, if I understood your vision, to first have a survey around the city for SMEs? We could bring them together, and then I understood it's important that we voice, seeking for partnerships, the message that we voice it through the local authorities. So we should also embrace the mayor of Mbarara and maybe the Belgian ambassador, something like that. My question is, so we could start to initiate something there and to build up some courage to reach for partnerships from, like, carried by the university but voiced through the local authorities. Can we do something here in the meantime to maybe accelerate the match? Because if we just encourage the people to reach out to Europe, I know in Uganda connectivity is for the people with money, so it's also not so easy to Google as you brought it. It's not the setup is different from our setup. So maybe we could also do something here to accelerate the matchmaking, and then I think we could be really having a substantial role to play when there are matches between SMEs from Belgium, I'd say, and Uganda. I think that's where we could really make something happen when the match is possible. So it's an extensive question, but my question is reduced to what can we do in the meantime here in the region?
We also have to change that mentality here. Today, the narrative, that dominates everything is Africa is not ready for this, what I'm talking. And we have to change that mentality here to our SMEs, to our entrepreneurs, to the authorities, our Belgian authorities, our Flemish authorities. They believe that Africa needs our help. That continues, that dominates everything, They are not aware, like I have told you, the people, when that was the first question that came to at the town hall in Aalst, with the mayor who was over there, My Talafai, my Senegalese engineer was there, First question he got, Mr. Tala, you must be somebody, vous devez être quelqu'un de bien. Mais certainement, vous avez fait vos études à Marseille, ou à Paris, ou à Montréal. You see, it's so difficult. We have to, like with the COVID pandemic now, the academic world has played an important role, you know, because they were serious, you know, they were considered, they know it, you know. That is what I'm asking for also for Africa. It's to our advantage, you know, that Africa develops itself. It's to our advantage that Africa develops itself. And the academic world has to play an important role. Beyond help for Africa, beyond instructing Africa. No. We have to instruct our entrepreneurs here. Hey, there's a big market working over there, you know. The big common market, you can make money like the guy from Ivory Coast said, the minister from Ivory Coast said, you come and make money over here, you know, and you even repatriate part of your profits, you know, back to repatriate to your country, you know, up to you. I hear the same story in Senegal, hear the same story in Cameroon, same story in Namibia, same story in Kenya, same story everywhere. But they are willing, what Africa is after is our know-how, our practical experience with advanced business processes. That is what Africa is missing. Africa, they have the people, you know, who have a good theoretical education, it has been said over there. They know all about economy, they know all about engineering, but they miss the practical experience. In a very complex world, you know, that is, you understand, it can, because the actual entrepreneur, he has to know a lot of things, you know. Not only technology, not only his market, his customers, but also about quality, speed of intervention, and so on and so on, and norms, values, check. It's so complex, you know, so complex. Yeah.
Dear, we could do it low profile, of course, in our own communication and in our outreach. We could. It's an awareness for us, but we could also, for instance, if it would be feasible, try a trade mission, where SMEs, if they can afford it, pay their own travel, but we can provide logistics and some experience there on the ground, so that it wouldn't weigh on our budget, but it could go hand in hand if we can guide this.
But first of all, we have to have, you see, I have talked to 200 of those entrepreneurs here in Belgium. I have participated in 5 trade missions, each time with 50 participants, you know. And those 50 participants were 49 of them only with a catalog to sell things, you know. And there was also one, every time, one participant, and we never saw him. But he used the minister, you know, for introductions over there for a big project. It was Deme, De Nul, those guys, you know. They have the project all over there, you know. And they also participate, you see. Yeah.
That's not an SME.
But we need those other 50 others, you know, who are there to sell luxury cars, anything, you know, that you can imagine, you know. Even fish, trying to sell fish to Cameroon. With yeah.
Okay, thank
so
you.
We have to change the mentality here. Because those people really believe that Africa is only good enough to sell everything. Because they are told, you know, we have to help those people, and yes, maybe you can sell something to them. Yeah.
Okay.
Building trust, we should seek a way to bring them together, eh? So they can, like you said, it's important that you look each other in the eyes. Eh?
So Ghent Africa Platform, for instance, at the university, they should act more, you know. I have been to their meetings, to their yearly meetings, you know. Yeah. So Luc Vierendales was speaking over there at Ghent Africa Platform. But yeah, and then I was talking, you know, yeah, but no, hey, no, Karel, you talk about making profits over there. I know that's not good. Yeah, but that's what people want over there. They want us to make profits over there, but create jobs and transfer know-how, transfer management know-how. and make money.
Okay, I see Imelda also had a follow-up question. Please, Imelda, go ahead.
Where is Imelda located? In Brussels or in Uganda?
Imelda is in Uganda.
Uganda, okay.
Imelda, did you have a question? You've put something in the chat. What about the matches? But yeah, it's difficult to know what it was about, the question.
It's also the connectivity. Yeah, like how to make the match.
Yeah, Imelda, go ahead if you want to add something.
Okay. I had someone who I didn't get a name who talked about the matching. And then I wanted to know more about that matching. It was more like that if we get together, maybe we would get talk about what it is with us here. As we share, then there would be an understanding on what it should be. That's why I was asking, what is it about the matches?
We would try to match small business enterprises from Uganda to Belgian ones to start from. And Project 5, employability, could facilitate that a lot. And we would also involve the local authority, like the mayor of Mbarara.
Does that answer your question, Imelda?
Yeah, I think the ground is well set with the matching. And I think we will take off very well.
Okay, thanks a lot, Imelda. Maybe looking at the time, we have some time for maybe one more question. But if there's no more questions, I would give the last word to Lies as project coordinator for this sub-project of the VLIRUOS project. Sorry.
Hello, everybody. I hope you can all hear me well. I first of all would like to thank Karel for his vision on how to create jobs in Africa, how to create a mentality change, and many, many more. So thank you a lot, Karel, for coming over to HOWEST and coming to our campus. And I also would like to thank Kurt for moderating the questions and the debate. And I also would like to thank Benny, who is walking behind me there, for the technical support there. Yeah. And I also would like to thank everyone who is here from the VUB, the Brussels University, and of MUST. The next thing we would like to do is to set up a meeting with the team members of Uganda and Belgium of Project 5. So we're looking for a mutual date to get to know each other and to have a first brainstorm on the several ideas that were brought up here already today. And hopefully we can set up a nice project and collaboration between HOWEST and MUST and the whole ecosystem we would like to build over there in Mbarara. So that was it for me and for this kickoff meeting and for the inspiration we have received so far from Karel and everyone else. Is there anything that someone would like to add to close this meeting?
Yes,
Karel.
please, Africa, believe in yourself.
Does
The
Africa
world
believe
needs
in...
you. The world needs you for climate change, for containing pandemics, for dismantling, or not dismantling, decentralizing the workshop of the industrial workshop of the world, China, because everything comes from China. We need a more equally distributed production all over the world, amongst all continents. And Africa, because they have the raw materials, they are able to prove it is possible over there. The only thing what they are missing, and they have the know-how also, they have enough engineers, they have enough economists already today to run, to be a manager, maybe not the managing director of those investments today, but very soon, you know, they will become also managing directors of those investors over there. And talking about those value chains, because it's never something between two partners. Very soon you have more partners in such a value chain. And yes, in the initial phase, the value chain will be orchestrated by maybe a European industrialist. And the African SMEs will be a part of the value chain. But there, at that time, those partners in the value chain, they are going to learn the trait of really international entrepreneurship. After some time, I believe strongly that one of those value chains, that those chains, you know, in the value chain, that they will start to be the orchestrator of a value chain. It will be my African value chain. And I seek partners in South America, in Japan, in China, in Europe, but I'm the boss, and I will create the most of the jobs over there in my country. So Africa has that opportunity because they have the raw materials and they have the climate. They have the sun. Yeah. And they have the people. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. Thanks for these wise closing comments.